I've had this conversation with a lot of landlords that,
Okay.
I was getting this much. Like, you can't get that. And they say, if I can't get, and it'll be, 300 under where they were. They said, if I can't get that, then it might be time to sell it, because putting in a tenant and dragging an additional however much they are might be worth it. So I personally think that we're at that kind of pretty close to the basement for the rent levels in my thoughts. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bamboo, Vancouver's property management and investment podcast. It is 2026, and I had said that when we had Liam Rines on the first show of 2025, we were going to make some predictions, and let's see how we did. I'm pretty sure we were wrong, but welcome to the show, Liam.
Thanks, man. I just want to remind you that I was told there would be like sandwiches or like soup involved at some point. I was promised that I would maybe have a sandwich or something.
Yeah, that'd be all good. I mean, cereal's cheap, so we'll get you something going on there.
Okay.
So let's get into the market predictions.
Oh,
and that actually, I guess we should explain for the new people who are here who you are. You're a realtor.
Yep.
And you've been in the business for
15 years.
Yeah, that's some time to get your spurs there.
15 years.
So what's up with the garbage bag here?
Oh, well, okay, last year we did have a conversation about our predictions and where we figured the market was going to go. And
yeah,
well, let me just start by saying I was off.
I think we both were. I've actually got our predictions here.
I was off a little bit. So yeah, all right. So come on, feel free to remind me.
Yeah, let's get into it. You did say that we could put your head on a separate stick, by the way, just as a heads up, if you will.
Yes.
So both of us predicted in 2025 that the sales were going to go up on that, because we were coming off of a humming 2024, and just figured that this was going to keep on going for it. What happened?
Well, in my own business, that didn't really happen last year. So now I mostly just ride the rails with my little dog, and we travel around from Canadian community to Canadian community solving problems.
Oh, nice, like hobo
and mysteries. It is, in fact, exactly like The Littlest Hobo.
Now, it is of importance, though, that we are looking at the stats that have come out, and we can't really compare all the way, I don't think, in my opinion, until probably about February or March, because that's when chaos started happening in the States and in turn caused chaos up here, or at least definitely had an effect up here. So do you think it would be accurate to say that we should probably compare to get a better idea of what actually is happening year over year in February or March, as opposed to the normal January to January or December?
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody could have predicted. I mean, yeah, we knew it was going to be a shit show, but I don't think anyone could have predicted that our closest trading ally would literally stab us in the back, and Liberation Day tariffs and all of that throwing into the mix.
Yeah,
a lot of instability.
Exactly. Right.
And what we do know about the market is that it doesn't like foreign variables messing with things, and that's exactly kind of what went down. So, I mean, I don't feel too bad about my prediction, because in even after inauguration on November 4th, nobody knew it was going to be this bad. So November, December, I think our numbers were still seeing like a bit of a climb, and we're looking forward to lower interest rates going into the spring. And those actually manifested a little bit, not as much as we thought. Not as much as we thought, no. But yeah, I was a little bit off, and so yeah. It's,
I mean, you did actually say that you didn't want to get back into the multiple offer madness. So I mean,
you
did get what you were hoping for.
That's cool. Now I live in a van down by the river.
Yeah, right. So now the benchmark price across Greater Vancouver currently from December to December has been down approximately $57,000 and change. That's a high overview, of course. This is for all types in all areas, and all types meaning housing as far as detached houses, townhomes,
Sure.
and apartments.
Yeah.
And that, as I said, we should maybe compare that between February and March as opposed to right now, and that the stats basically are about 5% down overall. And so it did go down, obviously, but not terribly,
Well,
in my opinion, overall.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see like big dollars going down because there hasn't been any sales, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, I mean, I think eventually those that are desperate to sell will have to sell, and but I don't think I think those are a bit fewer and far between.
I think that a lot of people, and as much as people complain about our whole mortgage system, I think that's kind of where it is. We all had to do this crazy stress test and stuff, and we all complained about it, but it seems to be kind of doing its job.
Yeah, actually, a buddy of mine is an economist, and I had a chat with him about that. And he was over at dinner, and he was like, he brought that up, and he's like, "Well, system doesn't look so funny, so stupid now, does it?" I'm like, "Oh, I guess you're right."
I digress. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. He made sure I got a sandwich.
Yeah, there you go. Right? So now we did touch on the mortgages there. That our predictions were that it would stay about even or so. So I mean, we weren't completely wrong. It did go down a little bit, but it didn't go up. So I mean, I'll chalk that up as a win, like a half. We'll call it a tie, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
nature.
No. Hey, I'll take any little accolade I can get here because I'm I'm just recovering from the worst year of my career. So we'll just say that even my first year wasn't as bad as last year.
Yeah. But I mean, it's been a tricky one for sure. And we're actually going to get into some of that stuff later on in the show about what to do in this type of market, because it is still challenging. Well, obviously challenging for your sellers, of course, but it's also kind of challenging for buyers in a way because they can get wrapped up in some pitfalls. So yeah, we'll touch in on stuff like that. So get your noodle working on that for a bit. And then our final prediction was on rents, which predicted that would go up, but that was also supposed to be tied with the sales. That also didn't go up. So again, dead ass wrong.
Dead ass wrong.
Yeah. That being said, though, like the rents have been down year over year. However, there's generally about a lull during the first few months, if not a little bit of an increase in activity. So I kind of feel that we're at where it's going to be. I can't see rents going down too much farther, because at some point in time, it's going to end up not effective, mostly for the mom and pops, landlords and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I'm gauging on. Obviously, these massive rental only buildings, they're just going to hang out and do. They've already built it.
Do you think there's going to be more of those coming? Do you see developers kind of going, well, nothing's selling, so let's get these units?
They may, they may have a bunch of buildings that don't have buyers for them and turn, floors 10 to 15 or whatever into rentals and then sell them later.
Because that's one thing I've been curious about on the residential retail aspect of things. If these developers who these buildings aren't selling, if they just flood the market with their cheap units, how is that going to affect residential resale? And if they flood the market with rentals, how is that going to affect residential rentals?
Exactly.
I don't think I have an answer for that. What do you see happening with that? Do you think that that's something that we need to kind of factor in as moving into 2026?
To some degree, I think that the developers are going to sit on their properties for a while. They're going to offer incentives, stuff like this, free parking.
Sure.
Because right now they're charging for parking and storage and all that stuff. So they're going to start putting in those incentives. I mean, I remember when I was working at the sales site for Bohem down on Hastings, and we were giving away a Fiat. if you bought a place, you get a Fiat. End of story.
Okay.
Okay. And they actually parked it inside, which is kind of funny to watch somebody try to park a car inside a building, but that's a whole other thing. But so I think that we'll probably start seeing more incentives. Free strata fees for the year, or just any of these things to get people to come in and buy. So I think that's probably what we're going to start seeing if these units don't start moving.
Just this morning when I gave Annie a ride into work, I was driving past, and it was a route that I don't normally take, so I don't know a lot of these developments that were happening. And I saw one that literally had win a free condo.
There are a whole bunch of caveats for that. I have a friend who is actually working on building said condo, and he's like, the fine print is quite a lot.
Okay.
So
I'd be curious to how that rolls out.
yeah, we should definitely read all the fine print for all of that, not just straight up.
How that's going to work out.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting on that side. So we got the 2025, 1 out of 3 ain't half bad, and it half good either. So
well, okay, like no one could predict.
right.
No one could predict the day-to-day chaos that the entire world is being subjected to right now, right? Like, I never know what's going to happen, right? And like sometimes I'll just stay up, watch the news, and then I'll wait for Annie to wake up, and then I'm just like, well, so you're not going to believe this, but it's like every single day. So
it almost feels like it's like the final season of USA. I mean, the series has been pretty lit, but see what's going on, right?
Oh man.
So let's get into 2026.
Oh,
what are your predictions? What do you think on the buying side? What's going on?
On the buying side, I think that I would encourage any fence sitter that, like, well, I mean, I've been saying this for the last half of 2025 is that like we haven't seen an opportunity for buyers like this for 20 years.
Yeah.
And in fact, those numbers just came out
We're just
this morning from the board about sales haven't been this low for about 20 years.
Yeah, that's as in sales transactions, right?
Yes.
Not pricing.
Not pricing. That's not pricing. Not pricing, but sales transactions. So and like just the amount of inventory that's out there. I mean, there's a lot to choose from, and I would encourage any fence sitter I have that is into buying to maybe start making some moves pretty quick. You know.
Yeah.
That being said, it's also difficult because are they buying a condo? Well, like we just talked about,
It's a lot of them.
Is there also gonna be a flood of stuff coming from developers as well, or incentives? So it's there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to that. I personally think that people will start buying simply for the fact that before everyone was waiting to see how high the interest rate was going to go, then they're waiting to see how low it's going to go. Then they're waiting for the prices to drop, and they have been dropping, but not astronomically. So I kind of feel that a lot of buyers are just going to say, I guess this is how it is.
Yep.
This is the interest rate.
Sure.
This is how much places are on. The prices are here. Like they do have a stop point, right? And I think that's probably where we're going to end up is that people are just going to say, we're waiting 6 months. It's been about the same for the past 6 months, give or take. So let's go.
Yeah, like I'm sitting here wearing a garbage bag, so I'm a little nervous about making any further predictions because I don't know how much lower my life can get after this last year. That being said, I'm kind of figuring things a little bit from my opens that I ran in December and the two that I've had so far this year.
Yeah,
and talking to other agents in my market center about their open houses, I feel like I was still getting like between maybe on average about three groups through per. And for December around Christmas time, that ain't bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that ain't bad, especially also considering the market we were in. But I've also seen a bit of an uptick in numbers in January already.
Yeah, so, I've seen anecdotally the same sort of thing. I got busier at the last months, which is unusual. Normally it just dies out and you just chill for Christmas type of thing. But I definitely picked up. And I've been noticing getting more calls on listings that I have and all that. I'm not sure if every other realtor is seeing that. Obviously, the realtors that are watching tell me. So you can share the info. But it seems like there's been a little bit more, at least interest in purchasing.
So
same with the rental side. We've been getting more calls on places that we weren't getting calls on before. So it seems that people are getting a little bit more interested in making some changes, doing some stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to any little hope I can get after last year. So I mean, like I see these. I see my numbers going up a little bit. Just having just at least more interest.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hold on to that and hope that this year will be let's just say a little brisker business wise than the previous. Yeah, I am very much hoping that there'll be a bit more market recovery than we saw last year. So
now on the mortgage side, what do you figure they're going to be doing? There's been some rumors of them going up, actually. Most people that I speak to, you think that they're just going to stay where they're at. But what are you figuring that mortgage-wise? I mean, obviously, it's a whole year. They meet over the year. Do you think it's going to go up drastically, down drastically, kind of just stick around where it is? What are you thinking?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was tied, like the rate hold was tied to job numbers released that actually did better than we thought. Now I am not a mortgage professional. Just let me.
You're a guy in a garbage bag.
Let me say, I am clearly not a mortgage professional. That being said, I do think that they'll hold. We'll see. I can't imagine Canada's job numbers being any drastically better than they were, and I think that was there was a big. I think that was kind of tied to the retail boom in a lot of part-time work. So we'll see what happens when we get our jobs numbers for the first quarter, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what's going. The other thing too, looking with that as well, is will the Canada open up their immigration a little bit more for certain things that have been going on down in other countries such as Venezuela? There'll probably be some people moving around a bit here. Do you think Canada may start opening up immigration, which in turn would probably get more people to come here, which will possibly raise rents?
Boy.
So, obviously we're not a huge show about world catastrophes, but do you think there's going to be some changes in Canada's policies as far as people coming here?
I didn't think it was a good idea business-wise. For Canada to tell the world that we're not interested in their money.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
I've never really thought I remember when they brought in the foreign ownership tax at 20%, which they did retroactively for deals that were already existing.
Yeah, that was
pretty nasty to do on a firm deal, on a handshake done deal to say, oh, by the way, you now owe an extra 20%.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick. So then after that, they did, like a complete foreign ownership ban. And I personally didn't see in my own practice, in my own business, I can only go by the business that I've done.
Yeah.
I didn't really see a lot of foreign ownership in my own business. It was always people that were like legitimately just trying to find a place to live. I kind of wouldn't mind a return of that, I guess, but it kind of depends on if politically it's still in vogue to blame all of our problems on immigrants, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how that works out, but I do think that we're going to see some form of change. But
it has, the thing is that it hasn't done anything for numbers.
Correct.
So they passed it again to go through until 2027. Now this was before the dude down south did all of his his bull in the China stop stuff.
Yeah.
So it had already been proven to not affect affordability, to not affect anything, and so I don't understand how that just got passed on until 2027 when it hasn't really done anything for affordability or any of the things that it was supposed to do.
Yeah, fair enough. Although the prices have come down a little bit, but
I don't think that's got had anything to do with that. I don't. No, I think that our prices going down have everything to do with what's happened recently, and in the last, I want to say 16 months, I guess. But that's just my take on it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, rents, what do you think are going to happen with those? We've already touched on the fact that there's less immigration, less student visas, all that sort of stuff. Do you think we're getting down to kind of the bottom where we are at the rent, or do you think there's still more to go?
Well, no, that is something I do think immigration does have an effect on, right. a little bit. The rental market.
Yeah.
I think. That's tough. Here I am. I don't want to make another prediction. I don't know what I'm going to be wearing next year, right?
Oh, I know.
But
well, you just give your only.
I think it'll kind of level. I think it's kind of like leveled off a little bit.
Yeah.
I
agree.
There's like, no matter how few people there are to rent, there is always going to be your maintenance fee on your investment condo for rental is always going to be your maintenance fee, and it's never going down. It's always going up.
Of
so
course.
I think that there has to be a threshold for people that purchase their investment properties, and them maybe not even being cash flow positive, but still working with their appreciation.
Yeah.
Long game appreciation. But it still has to make sense for the month to month,
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and I think that we've probably kind of hit around where that threshold is.
That's what I'm thinking as well. As I said,
you're the rental guy. So
fair enough.
You tell me.
I think that you're on the right path, at least in my opinion. I think that we're getting pretty close to the bottom for the rents, simply for the fact that it won't make any sense to hold it. Like owners will carry a property even if it's dragging a little bit of money, not covering the net.
Sure. Yeah.
But there is a threshold, and at that point in time, if it gets too much, they'll just sell it, right? Because they're not going to want to keep on dragging it. Granted that
unless they bought in the last 4 years,
right,
they can't sell it either.
But they may sell it anyways, because as you said, some people who are desperate or need to sell it, to stop the bleeding, basically. That might be the way, because rents have gone down.
Stop bleeding.
Oh.
That's the theme I want for 2026. we gotta put on t-shirts.
Here's some t-shirts. I can print those for us.
So,
but
I was also told that I would get a t-shirt and a sandwich.
But yeah, so I think that at some point in time, the rents are kind of level out. I've had this conversation with a lot of landlords that, I was getting this much. Like, you can't get that. And they say, if I can't get, and it'll be, 300 under where they were. They said, if I can't get that, then it might be time to sell it, because putting in a tenant and dragging an additional however much they are might be worth it. That being said, of course, a lot of the landlords have owned their places for quite some time. So they built that equity. Yeah. They may not get as much equity as they were planning, but they're still going to get some juice. It's not going to be a loss. So that's where they may make that decision and be like, okay, fine, sell it, cash out, put it into something else. Yeah. Whatever it may be. So I personally think that we're at that we're pretty close to the basement for the rent levels in my thoughts. But again,
that also comes from, from renters also hitting their threshold too, right?
Absolutely.
I understand. I always know how maintenance fees, mortgage rates, every taxes, it all adds up for the landlord. But at some point, you have to look at a guy being asked to pay $3,000 a month for a 400 square foot studio and just be like, what are we even doing here, right?
Exactly, right. And that's probably why there's been a lot of migration east. People are
the amount of my friends that I've moved to Calgary, just because they want to be able to, have a family and not live in a closet.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a lot of people, right?
It does happen. So I guess my wish for 2026 is that everybody can catch their breath.
Yeah.
Who knows? Hopefully. Yeah. I'd like to see landlords do well. I'd like to see renters do well. I just want everybody to do well.
Yeah, just everyone be good, right?
And not end up in a van
down by the river. So the market values came out for taxation purposes. Yep. Now, of course, those are from July 1. I would say it's a fairly safe bet that if your assessment is higher than it was last year, to maybe verify it. What do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah. For sure. And then also you can tell too, you can look at your neighbors' assessments and stuff, and you can see if the whole neighborhood is kind of feeling, doing something, and then yours isn't. Yeah. For sure. Have a look at that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if yours is down, obviously don't kick up a fuss about it. It's lower taxes. But I'm just saying, if it's higher than last year, it may be a good idea just to verify that. And some of the ways you can go about it are call a professional like Liam or myself and just get recent sales so that you can maybe challenge it it may work, it may not, but at least you can give it a crack because, as we've just shown, as a whole, the market's down about 5%, 57 grand on the benchmark price there, according to the real estate board at Greater Vancouver. So, just take a look because it was taken obviously in July of last year. So,
yeah.
And of course, this is changes from area to area, product to product, all that stuff. But
zoning to zoning,
yeah,
whether you're in what's considered to be a high traffic or a high transit spot as well, like that'll have an effect.
Exactly right. So yeah, just something to keep in mind because some people get that and they kind of freak out and don't want to pay a whole bunch of extra taxes, which makes sense, especially since everyone's fairly tight these days.
Yeah, yeah. I would say so. I was listening to some folks talk about it, some professional zoning application guys,
yeah.
and they actually had a lot to say about if you live in a single family detached and your neighborhood has like a rezoning application up and you're in a high transit area, but your intention is to just live in your home and not
not part of all that
not
stuff.
be a part of it,
Yeah.
then you can actually talk to them about like keeping your assessment down because you're not intending to be a part of it, which I thought was interesting as well. And I think that's probably going to have a major effect in areas like Surrey.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of sprawl, basically. Right?
Yeah.
So now, one of the things that it comes up because we are in a slower market, what are some of the things that buyers working in this market can do? I mean, as I had touched on earlier in the show, there's some pitfalls, for instance, like coming in way underpriced and essentially pissing off your seller, which is going to sully your negotiations. So like there is a bit of a threshold here. Don't be coming in with crazy numbers.
Yeah.
I think is one of the pitfalls. Are there any other things that pitfalls, benefits, obviously benefits being that there's more to select from, but are there?
Yeah, I think you can also get paralysis of analysis as well with I mean, when we were in our previous market, you didn't have a whole lot of time to think if you were a buyer. It was, and like that created its own pitfalls.
Absolutely.
Pitfalls in this, I think that you want to know a little bit about who you're negotiating across the table from. And would those particular folks, if you lowball them, decide that they have no interest in your offer anymore and would not entertain anything from them as well.
Yeah.
I know it's just business and you shouldn't take things personally, but people get very heated in this, and especially if it's a seller that's already down. Mm-hmm. Let's say they're one of those people that are, like they bought in the last 4 years and their situation has changed and they're in some trouble. They can kind of come off as like kicking them when they're down.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's one of those things that I explain to a lot of my clients that I'm trained in negotiation, like formally, but you cannot logic emotion. So if somebody, like using an example, if it's a family home, they've built all these memories in it and all this, they think that it's the Taj Mahal here. And you come in and give them a super low, borderline insulting offer, at least viewed that way, they're not going to want to negotiate with you. They're angry, right?
Yeah.
And then now you're done. So some of the pitfalls I think is making sure that when you come in with a lower offer, understandable, have some data to support it. Like, don't just come in and say, I want $200,000 off the price because.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's one of the pitfalls that people are going to run into is trying to undercut. Yes, there are deals out there to be had. This is a great time to be a buyer.
Yep.
But within reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, I just agree with you. Yeah. There's no but, and there's no caveat on that. Yeah. I think it's just, negotiating a win-win for everybody. That always should be our number one priority.
Yeah.
Is for buyers to feel like they got to win, sellers to feel like they got to win.
Yeah, it's a collaborative.
Everybody gets a warm, fuzzy feeling, and that's the best.
Yeah,
and that's when the negotiations go best. That's also, interestingly, when your buyer or your seller is like, well, you didn't really do anything. Everybody's like happy.
It's like, yeah, that's the idea here, right?
Kind of what we were going for there. Yeah.
Now, some of the other things, another tactic I found is coming back to the table. Like, there's a point in a negotiation where you're going to have to walk away. This is my line. I can't do anything more. I can't do either. The seller's not coming down, the buyer's not coming up, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. I think that in this slower market, coming back to the table, there's no harm on it. Like, if I've given you my offer, you declined it, we left preferably on good terms, because that's the best way to go. Don't burn bridges.
Yeah.
And then come back in a month. If it's still for sale, say, hey, I'm still interested in your place. This is still my offer. What do you think? It might look nicer at that point in time. Maybe their motivation changed. Who knows?
Sure. Right? And also, like, subject to sale offers.
There is a lot of those.
So
maybe explain to our listeners what those are, just in case they're not.
So we haven't had to see or deal with these things for a few years, and it's basically just. I think it used to be fairly normal in a balanced market or in a different market than what we're used to. What it is it's someone makes an offer on your property that is subject to the sale of their property. Yeah. When we were in a seller's market, the idea of accepting one of those would just be crazy because there's like 14 offers and half of them are subject free.
Yeah.
But in this market, like if it's a good looking listing, and we take a look at it, and the buyer's agent explains to me what they're doing with their sale, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I think that it creates a little bit of the buyers can feel a little safer. I mean, this for sellers, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a subject free offer, but given where we're at in the current market conditions, an offer is an offer. Yeah. And hey, like, it's
got to make a little concession sometimes to get to where you want to be.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
So another thing, saying that if when you're looking for something, say you've sold your place and what you're looking for isn't there, what do you think some of our tactics? I mean, do you think that it's back to those tactics where you can go and knock on doors again and say, hey, I've got a buyer, which in a hot market, everyone is doing that as some like nonsense realtor sales pitch. But do you think there's value in that now? Looking at the expired listings, looking at the terminated ones, like going and knocking on those doors.
Totally, absolutely. Like if I have a buyer and they're like, "Oh, we just weren't ready," and then this place was listed and it's not listed anymore, I pull it up, and absolutely. it was just canceled. Yeah, you bet. I'd be reaching out to the listing agent.
Yeah, you don't even step on toes.
Just be like, "Hey, you got a relationship with these folks? I got a buyer. Oops, I got a buyer. Let's have a chat." Yeah. And also, like, just for realtors that haven't experienced what we're going through right now, which should be most of us, really.
Yeah, there's some that have never been in a slow market.
Yeah,
they just started in, and it was just balls out,
gangbusters the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, there's the door knocking thing. You might want to get out there, and differentiate yourself from
dancing on TikTok. So on the flip side of that, because now this is difficult for sellers, what are some things that will help the sales process? What gets people through the door other than dancing on TikTok? What do you feel about maybe dealing with expectations, for instance? Because a lot of people are white knuckling, holding on, hoping that they're going to get that big payoff that they were 2 years ago, but them days are gone.
Yeah. Well, I've got a couple listings that have been sitting for quite some time.
Yeah.
So keeping your curb appeal looking tight, and like splurge on that landscaping a little bit to get people through.
Maybe retaking the photos might too, because there's some listings that I'm looking at, and there's no trees on that if they're still on the market come March. Or on the flip side of that, some listings I'm looking at and it's lush.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, it's winter, guys. Well, why is there full trees and flowers and birds singing and whatnot?
Yeah.
So it might be time to
Yeah.
redo some of those.
Like,
photographs.
your media making it seasonally appropriate, I suppose.
Right.
Could be because we are in such a slow market. Seasonally appropriate. Wow, that's
It's like a tongue twister.
It's a tongue twister, but it's also just very indicative of the times that we're in.
Yeah.
Virtual staging, if it's vacant,
Mm-hmm.
could be a good way to go. Door knocking the neighborhood around as well, and just reminding people that you have something for sale here, and that
I guess because neighbors might want to come, right? Like,
neighbors want to come,
or have a friend who wants to move near them, or something like that.
Yeah. I still believe in those old stats that statistically speaking, most people want their friends to live in the same neighborhood as they do.
Yeah. Or parents,
or whatever, and they know a cousin or they know somebody, so it can't hurt. And the thing that it's not going to hurt is just showing the neighborhood who's actually out there doing stuff too.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win.
So there are methods to go with it, but I guess overall with the sellers, it's time to taper down and understand where you're at, type of thing.
I mean, you can have all the marketing in the world, and you can get people through. Like I said, I'm happy with my numbers of folks that are coming through. So my marketing is working.
Yeah.
But pricing is going to be something. It's going to be something else too. Like you gotta be pretty sharp. And I'm not the type of agent to constantly be beating my clients up for price reductions.
Yeah.
That being said.
You might start turning into that.
yeah, maybe. There's you can drop a lot of hints and stuff too, and just be like, well, I think that maybe it's time to tighten things up here. That being said, it just takes the right one to come through, right?
It is. I had the same thing. I had a listing that was dead. Three phone calls in 3 months type of thing. Very, very little going on. And then all of a sudden, bang.
Right.
So you never know. And it came from a different situation. A person had a situational change. The furniture was for sale in the unit as well, because it was a furnished rental.
Okay.
And so the fellow had just gone through a life change, a breakup or divorce, whichever or. And it was perfect for him because he wanted to be in that area. And this way he just moved into his furnished place. No messing around, just hang my hat. So, I mean, sometimes a little luck pays off.
Yeah.
Absolute skill.
I still keep waiting for that Irish thing to work for me. And yeah.
So, we're going to touch in on some of the stuff going on at the RTB. It's going to be one of my pet projects this year. Some strange things have been happening down there. And we are aware that the RTB, the residential tenancy branch, is biased, we'll say. And so basically planning to start looking into that a little bit more, bringing a little bit more transparency, bringing, decisions that are coming out are odd. I've been talking with a lot of other property managers and so that'll be sort of the theme of this year's show for Bamboo, that we'll be looking into that, and there'll be some interesting things coming. We'll see if I get in trouble from the board. That'll be fun.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been some
on the P's and Q's.
Basically one of the decisions that we just dealt with essentially rendered the Form Ks from the Strata Property Act pointless. They let them out of the contract even though it was signed. They did not follow the bylaw on the move out. And let them out. So it's interesting. That's why I said I'm looking more into that. Once I get through the whole case on the actual legal side, talking to actual lawyers and whatnot.
Sure.
We'll be definitely presenting our findings. So do keep in touch with that for our listeners.
I'm going to be following that.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I'm actually talking to the board about it just because we just need some more transparency.
Sure.
I mean, including things such as for the arbitrators, what training do they have? Do they have any? Is it in a legal background? Is RTB working on precedent? Which thus far it has been no. It did not. And that's an interesting thing because it brings a false sense of security to people, because the RTB has said, we will release all of our past cases and you can see what had happened. But if you're not working on precedent, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, if it's just case by case, and they're just like,
Well, exactly, right? So
okay.
the interesting part, to touch on this one, this was over a move out, and part of the case they had said is that we did not advise the tenant that there was a change in the move out fee before they moved out. So the tenant gave us notice. We told them, you have to book with the building. The fee has gone up, and that was that. The arbitrator found that they did not have to pay the higher fee because we didn't tell them from the AGM, which seems a little odd. Sort of like, if you get a speeding ticket, do you know how much it's for? Probably not. May have gone up, may have gone down for the fine, but does that mean that you don't have to pay it? You've still done the speeding. So that's what I said. We're going to look into more of the ins and outs of this, because it seems quite strange that a contract that's been signed twice, once for the move-in fees and once with the Form K, was nullified,
Ignored.
Yeah. So that's the things that we're going to be looking forward to. We're going to
Okay.
be poking around. So we'll see how far this goes and what rabbit hole I end up on. And maybe I'll get canceled. Who knows? Yeah. It's
as long as you don't end up in a van down by the river,
as
or
long as you
wearing
got
a
a big enough
shopping
van you
bag
can share.
or a garbage bag, probably all right.
So with that, we've gone through our predictions on 2026 to recap, just because it'd be easier to compare it to next year.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going to happen on the buying, the mortgage, and the rents? Go.
Everybody's going to get what they want, and it's going to be awesome, and everyone will have warm fuzzies, and it will just be great. I will no longer be living by the river, and I will have actual people close.
There you go. I feel that the people are going to start buying. I think we're going to get more transactions. I think that the mortgage rate is going to stay about the same, maybe up, maybe down, but not astronomically, not like we saw with this massive rocket ship going up.
Yeah.
And I think that the rents will essentially flatten out and maybe start to increase if the sales start to increase. So that's my prediction.
I think we're of a like mind on that. And,
Okay.
I will put myself down for that.
All right. So we're both going down together.
Yeah, exactly. Next year, it'll be both of us in garbage bags asking for sandwiches.
If people are wanting to get a hold of you to help with their real estate and also maybe even to check their market values from the tax, how do they find you?
And just shoot me a text, 778-988-8370. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me, or websites or social media or...
Perfect. Yeah, I'll have those all in the description.
If you Google my name and it doesn't come up as Realtor Guy, then there's a real problem with what I'm paying for my SEO.
Fair enough, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's cool. I just want to remind you that
clothes.
I was told that there would be soup or at least a sandwich.
Yeah, and now a
after.
t-shirt.
Okay. People clothes?
People clothes.
I get to wear people clothes?
Perfect. Now, if you've been listening this long, thank you very much for tuning in to Bamboo. My name is Hayes. This has been Bamboo, Vancouver's Property Management and Investment Podcast.